and that is whether India can be friendly with everybody. This is an ideal, ideally yes, but India is friendly, should be friendly with only one thing, and that is its own core interests. And if it is good for the core interest of India to be friendly with everybody, India should be friendly with everybody. If it is good for the core interest of India to be hostile to somebody and friendly to somebody, India should be hostile to somebody and friendly to somebody else. So our country has to be friendly only to its own core interest and nothing else. So that is basically our philosophy, and we are looking very clearly at our core interest in making geopolitical judgments about exactly how much friendly or how much not friendly to be. Of course, I'd like to add this, that the political process in India is evolving, and we are evolving in terms of the governance structure. My view is that the coming period is going to witness a very strongly nationalist government in India. You're going to have a very nationalist government running the country. If there is a nationalist government, then the only thing the nationalist government look at is Indian core interest. So if that means being friendly with everybody, then yes. So if it means becoming hostile to somebody, then we should be hostile in order to safeguard our core interest. Sir, regarding the mountain, the old Chinese saying, today the mountain has become much bigger. Economy has become much bigger, global trade is much bigger. So there is space for at least two tigers. I mean, I agree that Japan is a tiger, I agree that Indonesia is a tiger, Iran is a tiger. United States is not an Asian country, and Russia is Russia. So I'm not really putting them in that list. But I would say Indonesia is a future tiger. Iran is a future tiger. Japan is definitely a tiger in terms of development of technology, in terms of resources. But the problem with Japan is Japan does not believe it's an Asian country. Japan honestly believes that it is located between Belgium and Switzerland. It functions as though it's a European country. It is totally, the Japanese policy is totally divorced from Japanese geography. So it's when a country believes it is European, it is very hard for us to accept it as an Asian country. That is all I can say about Japan. But sir, about the South China Sea, I'd like to say that in my view, this original very nasty commentaries in South China Sea that we saw in the Chinese media, today they're becoming a little more nuanced, a little more sensible. This point that the entire South China Sea belongs to China is absurd. No country can accept that. It's like saying the Indian Ocean belongs to India and every other country should get out of the Indian Ocean. It is absolutely meaningless. You have to have a system in which all the countries that are part of that have rights that are protected by international law, by convention, and if necessary by military force. So India is very, very clear. We are not going to put all our eggs in the Chinese basket. We are going to the Vietnamese, we are going maybe to the Filipinos, we'll be going to the Malaysians, we'll be going also to the Chinese. But the eggs will be in different baskets. So India cannot accept the position that the South China Sea belongs to China, unless China agrees that the Indian Ocean belongs to India. In which case, definitely we will be happy to accept it. So, coming back to the United States, sir, the United States unfortunately has a tremendous tendency for making mistakes. It made some huge mistakes in Asia by supporting religious fanatics, religious fundamentalists. The entire growth of Islamism is because of the strong geopolitical support given by the United States and Europe to Islamists from 1950s, 60s, 70s, in fact 1930s. Wahhabis were supported in the 1920s and 1930s by the British against the Turks. The whole expansion has come because of that. So they have made enormous mistakes, and so far as India is concerned, George Bush had an opening to India and was very positive to India. He wanted a good technological relationship with India. Unfortunately, President Obama is an extremely anti-Indian president. He is extremely negative on India. He gives us very sweet words and honeyed language, and that's all. But I think we need a little more than sweet words and honeyed language. On the UN Security Council, he tells in India that yes, I support India as a permanent member. Why can't he stand up in the United Nations in the UN Assembly and say we want India to be a member? The United States has never moved a resolution in the UNSC that India should be a member. What is the point of making a speech in India when you should make a speech in the UN. So, we were promised space cooperation, it hasn't happened. We were promised high-tech cooperation, it has not happened. On every front, it is a big disappointment for us, the Obama administration. And in our view, the reason is, Obama administration is actually not an Obama administration. It's a Clinton-light administration. And Bill Clinton was also a very anti-Indian president. During Bill Clinton's presidency, there was tremendous pressure on India to surrender Kashmir to Pakistan. Now we believe at that time, and we still believe, had Kashmir gone, it would have been a jihadi haven. Today, if Kashmir is not a jihadi haven, it is because we still control Kashmir. But Clinton put painful pressure on India to surrender Kashmir. Clinton was very negative on Indian technology. He refused to share Indian technology. In fact, Americans share a lot of technologies with China that they don't share with India. We can't understand it. China is an authoritarian state. We are a democracy. But they won't share with us. They'll share with the Chinese. So we have been very disappointed by the Obama administration, to be frank with you. And the problem with the Americans is, you can't really trust them. Their political zigzags are so significant. You really can't trust them. I think Taiwan witnessed that in the 1970s. All of a sudden, it was China and not Taiwan. You were nowhere in the picture without any warning. There's a very sharp zigzag. So the difficulty is a partner which is zigzags like this. With, if 5 senators get defeated or 1 or 2 senators get elected, the whole policy changes. So it's very, very difficult to have a consistent strategic relationship with a country with an inconsistent policy. And we find the Obama policy is very different from the Bush policy, frankly. So I want to say that one of the big factors that is preventing us, and again I'd like to add this point, regarding Bush also. After the 9/11 attack, Prime Minister Vajpayee rang up Mr. Bush directly. Jaswant Singh, our foreign minister, rang up Colin Powell directly and said, look, the Indian army is ready. We will be happy to send troops to Afghanistan. You can have your troops here. You can quarter them here. We will give you whatever facilities you need. We will help you in this war on terror. And Colin Powell, of course, laughed when Mr. Jaswant Singh made the call. He laughed. Mr. Bush said, oh, well, Mr. President, we don't know. But he declined the offer of Indian assistance. So quite frankly, that was a golden opportunity for the Americans. That was a golden opportunity to get a huge Indian army on its side. Because the Indian army is the only army in the world that has succeeded in defeating a jihadi force. We had a strong jihadi force attack us in Kashmir, and we defeated them. Kashmir is now a very secure part of the country because we defeated them. An army with very strong counter-terrorism skills. And that is why the Americans are constantly coming and training with us to learn our counter-terrorism skill. That army was ready to march along with America, and the Americans declined it. So, as I said, the Americans have a bit of a European mindset that we are acceptable as a second-class power, as a second-class friend. The first class belongs only to Europe. So that kind of mindset we cannot accept. So, which is, as I said, that is a huge problem that we are facing in trying to develop ties with the United States.
Thank you.